This is Binghamton Now on News Radio 1290 WNBF Binghamton and WNBF.com.
Good day, I'm Bob Joseph. This is Monday, November 25th, 2024. Your Binghamton Now program is underway. Feel free to call us at 607-772-1290. WNBF. Welcome. The Stick to the Issues crowd will be happy to know that we have plenty of issues to discuss today, issues and answers, and we will tackle as many issues as possible between now and noon. Of course, if you have issues that you would like to be addressed, call us at 607-772-1290. We could talk about things to be thankful for. There is so much. Most of us probably maybe sometimes take for granted, but we don't need to take it all for granted. We certainly this week can spend some time expressing some gratitude for what we have. Yeah, it's not perfect, but we have, in most cases, quite a bit. I think most people who are listening, if they think about it, would acknowledge that they're rather fortunate. So if you want to talk about that, or if you want to talk about the more pressing issues that are facing Binghamton and beyond, you can certainly call us. Let's get going. Let's hit the phones hard this morning. Hi, WNBF. Congratulations. You're caller number one. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
John from Binghamton, and I am number one.
You are number one in our book.
Yeah, we lost the Senate. Trump lost the Senate before he's inaugurated. That's quite a feat.
Unfortunately, I think it was inevitable. I think this was in the cards, and I'm not so sure he could have done much about it, but maybe the next time he'll do better.
Well, it's going to be it's just a matter of what your red lines are. If you're a longtime Trump supporter like myself, I'm going to tell you this: if every January 6th prisoner is not out of jail immediately, and the rest need to be pardoned or commuted. If that doesn't happen, then I'm finished right from the get-go, because this is an issue that everybody that wants human rights and is against political prisoners should be concerned about. I mean, if there's a process, if they start, and Trump alluded to this only once did I hear him say this, that there's going to be a process. Now, if there's a process, then forget it. These guys have been rotting in jail for a long, long time.
Well, maybe Mr. Trump has consulted with legal experts and has decided that his previous promise should be inoperative.
Well, moving on, Bob, do you think that on January 19th, that the records and machines aren't going to be sabotaged? Are we that naive to believe that there's not going to be a massive operation for the average government employee to do as much damage as possible?
Well, it's happened before. There have been transitions in our lifetime that have been less than smooth, and not just at the White House, but even on the fourth floor of City Hall. People don't always play well with each other, even when there are public promises to have a smooth transition. Some people, to be honest, are embittered after a loss.
Yeah, and we have a senator called J.D. Vance. Why hasn't he taken to the floor of the Senate and he's supposed to be an eloquent guy. Why does
fear factor? He's afraid. He's afraid.
Well, now
let's see some courage. He doesn't become vice president for another 8 weeks. What's he afraid of? Why doesn't he start speaking out? He has the job, and some people suggest he even may become president in the next 4 years at some point. So now is the time to show the courage of his convictions.
Plus, he's going to be the leader of the Senate, too, the tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker, baby. And I predict he'll be called into the Senate more than once in 2025 to break some ties, bust some heads. Now, I mean that figuratively, by the way, not literally.
Yeah. I'm not keeping track of how many people are going into the cabinet from the House, and I know that the seats are supposed to be safe, but these special elections all at once would seem to, take the news cycle a bit away from what Trump is doing. You get involved in a number of congressional seats that are going to have special elections, and if by hook or by crook they end up losing a couple, I don't know if the margin in the Congress can even be assured of, because we got a very weak guy, Mike Johnson, Mr. Peepers. We've got Mr. Peepers in there.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I predict a lot of surprises. In the first 6 months of the year, we'll have so many surprises that we may have to extend the broadcast to beyond 3 hours on some days. Well,
here's my prediction. You're going to see the North Korean army take over Kiev, whatever you want to call it. They're going to be there. They're going to be looking for women. There's a lot of pretty women there that are still left. So, to the victors and the spoils are going to be in play. Whoever thought, unless you actually read your Bible and hear of million-man armies.
Not just a regular Bible. A Trump Bible, $49.99.
Well,
available I think it's available at TrumpBible.com, or I don't know the website.
Actually,
I think
it's the Lee Greenwood Bible.
Oh, that's true.
How about that one? He's been married 4 times.
Well, hey, he's a good man. He's a good man. Every time, thanks, John. Every time I hear the name Lee Greenwood invoked, I think of 40 years ago when his song was being played at extremely high levels, very, very loudly at Union Endicott High School to welcome America's 40th president. That is the Lee Greenwood I celebrate. The Lee Greenwood who said he was proud. Of course he was. It's 9:18 WNBF. Well, we'll see who else might check in this morning. Hope everybody has a chance to check in. We're here for you. Here's the forecast from the National Weather Service. Beautiful blue skies right now here in downtown Binghamton. Forecast says partly sunny, high 47 today. Right now, it seems completely sunny from where I was standing a few minutes ago before I entered our secure bunker surrounded by thousands of tons of glass, steel, and concrete. Tonight, showers developing, low 40. Tomorrow, showers in the morning, otherwise apparently nothing, high 51. And then Wednesday, partly sunny, high 45. And for those concerned on Thanksgiving Day, rain, high 42. Right now in downtown Binghamton, it's 33. That's 1 Celsius. And air quality is good. Air quality index now for Binghamton is 31. So breathe that clean Binghamton air. 607-772-1290 is our number. I'm Bob Joseph. You're listening to the Monday edition of Binghamton Now. 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, always available on the WNBF app. 922 WNBF. I hope your power has been completely restored. Let us know if you are still struggling to regain your power. See, in Pennsylvania, there still evidently are thousands of electric customers without power. That's in Pennsylvania, including Claverack is down to 762, according to one website. First Energy, 3,700, and PPL electric utilities, 6,000. So still thousands and thousands of people have no power because of the fall snowstorm here in Broome County. Still a handful, half a dozen customers without power, according to the NYSEG website. 5 in the town of Sanford and 1 in the town of Colesville. 56 NYSEG customers in Delaware County and a dozen in Tompkins County. So NYSEG's outage number has been whittled down to 89 compared to thousands, tens of thousands on Friday. So crews have been busy. On my way in, I saw dozens of utility crews from out of state. Lots of utility trucks were staged, and they were just getting started, leaving around 8:30, 8:45 for their assignment. Some probably are heading down to Pennsylvania to work on some of the lingering problems there. Talked with one of the supervisors, and he said, I hope we're home for Thanksgiving. So they are, and they probably will be, unless there's another big storm. See, some of the trucks had Michigan license plates, Indiana plates, Oklahoma plates. So, out-of-state utility crews that spent the night in Broome County, and then they were up bright and early, driving their trucks out to wherever they're told to go. That's what the guy said. I asked him, where do you think you'll be heading? Well, wherever we're told. So thankfully, there are electric crews, line crews that are available to try to get the power back on as quickly as possible. It's 9:25 at WNBF. If you want to check out some local news, I recommend WNBF.com, including the story of a drug clinic, a substance abuse clinic for those who need assistance. That will be opening soon in the First Ward, just off Clinton Street. The Addiction Center of Broome County has been given the green light to open that clinic near Clinton Street, and I would guess it should open sometime next year. The Addiction Center acquired the building at 15 Charles Street about 2 years ago. They paid $1.2 million, so it was not a cheap acquisition, but it speaks volumes about how much we need programs of this type. So if you want to see some information about the outpatient clinic and the rehab program, that'll be located on Charles Street, just off Clinton. Take a look at our website, WNBF.com. This is Binghamton Now. I'm Bob Joseph, 9:26 on a Monday morning, listening to 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, online at WNBF.com. It's 9:29 at the Binghamton Now program, and we thank you so much for joining us. It is one of the best programs offered here at WNBF. One of the very best. And we'll be taking more of your phone calls coming up shortly. So if you have things to say, we definitely would like to hear from you about the important issues, the things that you are going to be thinking about today and the rest of the week. Right now, though, we're joined by Sue Fabian. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you today?
Great. So you're joining us to tell us about a very special event that'll be coming up soon in early December.
Yes. I am calling about a Christmas tree tea that the St. Michael's Ladies Guild is going to be sponsoring on Saturday, December 7th at 1 p.m. And that will take place in our recreation center on 296 Clinton Street in Binghamton. It is a major fundraiser for our Ladies Guild. And our Ladies Guild mission statement is to have an organization of fellowship and faith and friendship for the women of the parish. And our main guidelines is to raise funds for the church itself.
All right. So how many people do you think will be on hand?
Well, right now we have around 80 ladies that have signed up to come to the tea, and we'd love to have around 90. There is a cost of $20 per person, but there are door prizes, there are beautiful raffle baskets to bid on, and we're having a light fare lunch along with many appetizers and hors d'oeuvres, and of course all of our ladies will be baking some of their favorite cookies and desserts. We're really, really looking forward to the event this year. Last year we had about 60, and it was very successful. This year we're trying to grow the event. We are also having Ted Davenport, who is a well-known harpist in the area, and he's going to be playing music for us during the events as well. And I'm sure there'll be a Christmas carol or two that'll be sung by Father James Dutko. So we really, really would like anyone who would be interested in attending. I can give you the phone call of the person that is taking the reservations. Her name is Mickey, and her phone number is 607-22-1651.
All right, you'll have to give that number again because your number dropped. Your number dropped, or your phone dropped out a little bit during that number. So, plus, I'm going to let people grab their pen so they can jot this number down if they want information. Again, this specialty is coming up at St. Michael's at 296 Clinton Street, and that's coming up next weekend?
Yes, December 7th, the weekend after, at 1 p.m., and the price is $20 per person. We'd like to have our cutoff around the 1st of December for people that are interested to call and make a reservation so we can get a good head count.
All right. So again, the phone number, if people would like to register for this?
607-222-1651, and that's Mickey.
All right. Well, I appreciate your calling in to let us know about the big event on December 7th. And sounds like several dozen people are in for a nice bit of entertainment on that afternoon.
We hope so. We really do.
Sue Fabian, joining us live. I appreciate your checking in. I hope you have a great week and a wonderful Thanksgiving Day.
You too, Bob. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
It's 9:34 at WNBF. We're serving the community as we have been for nearly a century. I see no need to stop now. I think we're just finally figuring out how to do this the best way possible. So let's plan to continue for at least another century. WNBF. Real people serving our real community, not artificial intelligence, not AI. You know, I keep hearing about some of the media organizations. Well, what you ought to do is switch over to AI so we can serve people better. And I'm thinking, that's not the purpose of AI. The purpose of AI is to eliminate jobs. That's what that's about. I heard our tech guru, she was on this morning, Kim Commando, and she was talking about just how great AI is. Just everything great about AI that's been accomplished over the first 2 years of AI. I thought she nailed it right on the head. What an amazing mess that AI has just in 2 years. Look at the havoc. Look at the disruption. Look at the jobs lost. Look at the despair. And go to an average playground and look at the eyes. Look into the eyes of the innocent people whose lives are going to be totally changed by the miracle of artificial intelligence. Yep, pretty much. Sadly, can't do anything about it, can we? No, I guess we can't. Well, here's a bulletin just in from Tish James, from her press office. The Attorney General, Letitia James, has just announced $11 million in penalties from 2 fabulous insurance companies, well-known insurance companies who are proud of their image. $11 million in penalties from 2 car insurance companies, Geico, the one with that little squirrel, and then Travelers, for having poor data security, which led to your personal information being compromised. More than 120,000 New Yorkers had their personal information compromised, according to Tish James, by Travelers and Geico, the one with the squirrel, or whatever. It's some cartoon character. These events were part of an industry-wide campaign by hackers to steal your personal information, including driver's license numbers and your date of birth. So, great. Well, great thing about this, she can announce $11 million in penalties against the car insurance companies. And the way car insurance works, I believe, is those companies will not pay the price. We, the consumers. So, say if your car insurance has been going up, has been escalating, if the cost has been escalating over the last 4 years, prepare for greater escalation, because they now face penalties from Tish James and the state insurance regulators. So, great. So they make terrible mistakes. They allow our personal information to be compromised, our dates of birth and our driver's license information. And so what do they get? An $11.3 million penalty that they'll pass along to innocent people like you and me. It's 9:39 at WNBF, 607-772-1290. Even if you're out of state, you're allowed to call in. Even if you're an out-of-state utility worker, say if you're heading to a job right now and you finish your coffee and say, well, we're still 25 minutes away from the work site, go ahead, call us. Tell us about how hard the work has been over the last few days getting the power back on in New York and Pennsylvania. Let's see, here's from our big bag of email. Gary writes about Mike Johnson. Well, I can't say that. Come on, Gary. It's Thanksgiving week. We're not going to say anything about Mike Johnson like that. Here's one from Alan in Binghamton regarding prisoners. Oh, I hope they stay where they are. I think he's referring to the so-called political prisoners, those who are doing time after being convicted of criminal activity on Insurrection Day. So, they'll probably stay where they are. I think even President-elect Donald John Trump, I think even he knows that you don't want criminals, dangerous criminals, released on the streets. I mean, the cornerstone of his campaign was law and order. So he's not going to, even though he clearly indicated to many of his supporters that he would release the January 6 prisoners, upon further reflection, he understands it's not going to be to anyone's benefit to have even your supporters, even the most ardent supporters who broke the law to show their support for the lie that the election was stolen. You don't want those people back on the streets. Did you see what they did on Insurrection Day? I mean, the video speaks for itself. People were hurt. Law enforcement died because of the disturbing behavior of a few people on Insurrection Day. We shall never have another insurrection. So even President-elect Donald John Trump understands you cannot escape punishment. You must do the time. You do the crime, you do the time. Hey, law and order. That's what it's about. Let's see what else is going on here. Yeah, it's funny. No matter what city you go to, there are people who complain about the way things are being run. So it's not unique. It's not unique to Binghamton. There are people, whether you look at news coverage in Albany, Syracuse, Buffalo, Rochester, New York City, Poughkeepsie, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Harrisburg, no matter what city you look at, there are people who are griping. Let's see. Oh, WNBF.com, finally, our long national nightmare is over. The Harbor Freight people have fixed up their building on Upper Front Street in the town of Shenango. I thought this place would have been open by now because remember NASCO Home and Flooring Center had been there for over 30 years, and then suddenly they got a telegram. Well, no, they didn't get a telegram. Suddenly they were notified a little over a year ago that they had to leave. They had to shut down their NASCO store because the big boys were coming in. The Harbor Freight with their big tools wanted the store that NASCO had been using for over 3 decades, so NASCO had to hold a going out of business sale at 1272 Upper Front Street, so they shut that down. And then I thought within a few months the Harbor Freight store would be open, but turns out, as they say, not so quick. Not so quick. Upon further review, the town of Shenango had to have advised the people who were running the Harbor Freight tool company that you can't do this kind of virtual. It was essentially a total renovation of the inside of the building. It was completely gutted, and so that for some reason they didn't think that they had to adhere to the FEMA rules regarding flooding, because you do that kind of massive renovation at a place, you're going to have to take steps to make sure that your business is not vulnerable to future flooding. So after it was called to the attention of the people at the Harbor Freight Tool Company that you can't just gut the place, renovate it, and then open up, you're going to have to take some steps to ensure that when there is any future flooding, that your building is not going to be susceptible to damage. So that's why it took a lot longer than they expected. So anyway, they are preparing to open their new store. So if you want a preview, details about what's going on at the opening, I know a lot of people have been waiting for this. Since we broke the story, I think in June of last year, people have come up to me frequently and they say, Raj, when is the Harbor Freight store supposed to open? And I say, well, I guess as soon as they get the new walls put in. They had to take out all the old walls and put in new walls to try to make it less vulnerable. So we have the details. They finally are going to be able to open it up. I stopped by there the other day and wanted to talk to the manager, but he wasn't around at that point. He's busy. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot to be done before they open, so almost time. So you can get your all the tools you need at the new store on Upper Front Street. It's 9:46 at News Radio WNBF. Coming up later today, Dan Bongino from noon to 3, Sean Hannity from 3 to 6. So there will be plenty to talk about today on WNBF 92.1 FM and 1290 AM. Speaking of Dan Bongino, I'm a little concerned now. I admit, I'm a little concerned about our WNBF lineup, and here's why. Because now in recent days, we've heard new speculation that Bongino could be the guy to run the Secret Service. Now, I can't weigh in. I cannot, under any circumstances, weigh in on whether Bongino would be a great Secret Service director. Given the Secret Service directors in recent years, I don't know that he could be worse, but I'm not sure if he's the best qualified person. But to me, the biggest issue, more so than Bongino running the Secret Service, is so what does that mean for you, the home viewer here at WNBF? WNBF has, of course, a powerful talk lineup, and a key element of our talk show lineup. Of course, we kick things off every day with this program, so we get things going off in the right direction from 9 to noon, and then we turn it over to other hosts to see what they think. But we at least set the agenda, and then the other hosts take over, because I can't be on for 6 or 9 or 12 hours a day, so we have to have some other hosts after noon. But now, with this speculation that Bongino will be Secret Service director, what exactly, he can't, or can he? I'm trying to figure, can he still be hosting his daily show from noon to 3 and be Secret Service director at the same time? I don't know. Maybe, I don't think it's been done before. I don't think there's ever been a Secret Service director who has had a daily radio show at the same time, but I don't know that there's any law or regulation or rule that would prohibit it. So, looking at another Town Square media station, and I don't even know where it is. Somewhere. We have so many stations everywhere. This is... Well, it begins with K, so I can tell you that it's not a station close to here. It looks like it's Idaho. Yeah, actually, it's Idaho. It's Twin Falls. That's the same place where they have a big yogurt plant. Remember when the Yogurt King, who started the big trend of yogurt when he found that plant up in Shenango County. So the Yogurt King decided to build a new yogurt plant, and he did it in Twin Falls, Idaho. Anyway, so Town Square Media, the company that owns WNBF, has a talk station there. And so a guy who works there, let's see, I think he's the program director. I think I know this guy. Bill Cowley. I think he used to work here in New York State. It says on his bio that Bill Cowley joined the station in Idaho in 2014. He's a graduate of the State University of New York and a refugee from the same People's Republic. Apparently he doesn't think much of New York State, but he is a SUNY graduate, so that part is good. But then on his bio page at his radio station in Twin Falls, it says he's a refugee from the same People's Republic. So apparently he left New York State and never looked back. So he's a radio host in Twin Falls. It says an Idaho radio host laments losing Dan Bongino. Now the headline, I say, is misleading because there is no final determination that Bongino is actually going to leave his current job as a radio host and work for the federal government again. Speculation. So anyway, Bill Cowley writes at Town Square Media, I voted 3 times for Donald Trump, but now he's messing with my livelihood. Dan Bongino is being considered as the incoming director of the Secret Service. My radio station is one of hundreds that Bongino's show airs. I called his syndication company and asked if Dan would move from the night side to Rush Limbaugh's time slot. That's after Rush Limbaugh died a few years ago. So this guy in Idaho, a SUNY graduate, I told her, the woman at the syndication company, that he apparently wanted Bongino to be on in the slot that he now has, noon to 3. So apparently Bongino was doing well back then as a podcaster, and then it says within a couple of weeks Bongino was competing for that time slot, and eventually we got him on our station. Then we almost lost him when he battled his employer over the COVID jab. We remember Bongino was one of those people who steadfastly refused to get a jab, even though most people were required to get a jab by their employer. So it says the dust finally settled and Bongino's ratings have grown by leaps and bounds. Now he may have an offer he can't refuse. I'm happy for him. He comes across as a friend as he's on in my office every weekday, but I'm not looking forward to a change so soon. So, I don't know. I don't know what this means. I have to say, if we lose Dan Bongino, I don't know what we're going to do. If we lose Dan Bongino, that conceivably means I'll have to be on for an extra 3 hours every day. Not saying I can't do it, and I'm certainly not saying I won't do it because I'm a good soldier for Town Square Media. But if Dan Bongino leaves to become director of the Secret Service, then Binghamton Now would have to be on from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So just something I have to look forward to in the new year. It's 9:55. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? I think we lost it. I think it's probably Bongino calling me on the hotline. Bob, don't talk about that. If you talk about it on the air, you're going to jinx me, and then I'll never get to be director of Secret Service. So maybe he'll call back during the news, and then he and I can talk privately off the record. That'd be great. Dan Bongino calling Binghamton Bob. Hi, Bob. Are we off the air? Yes, Dan. We're off the air. Okay, can I talk to you? May I speak freely? This is totally off the record. Of course, Dan, you may speak freely off the record. Tell me what the deal is. I have been offered a couple of opportunities in the new administration. One, of course, is Director of Secret Service, which I feel I'm eminently qualified for. And the other is, and that part I can't say. It's already been reported he's being considered to be Secret Service Director. But the other opportunity with the new administration, I'm sure you'll insist that I keep it off the record for now. It's 9:56 WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
This is Matt. Did you cut me off intentionally, or
no? No. There was nothing there. Don't look at me.
Oh, okay. I just wondered because it was. I didn't think you. I didn't think I said anything too offensive.
Not yet. Okay, begin. So, what's on your mind, Matt from Binghamton? Good morning.
No, I was just saying that Dan Bongino, my pets run to the other room when you go off and he comes on.
So what do you think if he winds up getting this plum assignment in the new administration, Director of Secret Service, and then Binghamton Now has to be extended till 3? What do you think of that? Would that be a public service?
Yeah, I would much rather hear you and the public from our community than I would Dan Bongino any day, any year, any time, any possibility. The guy is poison, and the thing is, what I wonder is, does he have to get a confirmation, the Secret Service, a confirmation position? If it is, I hope the one question they ask him is, are you going to be increasing the agents around his golf courses, and will you instruct them to continue what they did before when Rick Riley investigated Trump, was given full access of when he hits an errant shot into the woods, will they kick it out into the fairway so he can, continue to cheat?
Good news. Good news, Matthew. According to the Internet, the Secret Service Director is appointed by the President without consent of the legislative branch. So if the President-elect wants Bongino, he gets Bongino.
Yeah, well, I quite frankly, I would love to see him off the airwaves. Cause
That's mean. That's mean.
It isn't mean. It's mean.
I mean, okay. Some people would say it's a win-win because they like this program so much that 6 hours of this every day would be twice as good. But then some people say that a dissenting voice, would be silenced because he would be Secret Service Director. So anyway, I appreciate your call. We have the news coming right up, and then we'll have more calls on our Monday program. Don't worry. As far as I know, Bongino's going nowhere, at least not right away. I'll keep you posted right here, WNBF. 607-772-1290. That is the number for the Binghamton Now program. And again, stressing we have no information that Dan Bongino is going anywhere except staying right here on your favorite station, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, and available at WNBF.com and on the WNBF app. Tree lighting. The tree lighting information has just been released by the mayor's office. The mayor has just announced Binghamton will hold its holiday tree lighting ceremony on Saturday at the Washington Street Mall. The mayor said downtown Binghamton's tree lighting ceremony has quickly become one of the community's favorite ways to kick off the holiday season. In addition to family-friendly festivities, the event is a great chance for residents to support local shops and restaurants. Downtown Binghamton has so much to offer year-round, and this time of year especially. Thank you to our sponsors for helping make this event possible. So that's Saturday. Circle it on your calendar. Saturday, 5 p.m., the holiday tree lighting celebration. Music, special activities, and free hot chocolate. And the event will feature caroling from the Tri-Cities Opera Youth Choir. The mayor, that's Jared Graham, will join residents lighting the tree at the Washington Street Mall near Court and Washington at 5:30 p.m. Saturday. Several Binghamton businesses will offer discounts and hold events. All righty. All right. Well, now I have something to do Saturday. I visited downtown Binghamton this past Saturday, and oh my goodness, everybody was having a good time. Not just a good time, a great time. So I have to stipulate downtown Binghamton is the place to be for the holiday season. Come on down. Maybe I'll see you when you come to downtown Binghamton for the holidays. Come on. Check out Mr. Joseph's neighborhood. It's 10:13. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
This is Carol from JC, and I'm calling on my landline so you can hear me a little bit better than, I guess, the cell phone problem I'm having. Anyway, I have noticed for the past several days, more than a few days, you have a new voice announcing the station identification, and it's that fella from the does the TV commercials for Galt, Toyota, Chevrolet, whatever. Right? They must have done a gratuitous chance for him to announce it.
I don't know how the station works. I honestly don't. I work here and I listen to the station, but as far as how these things happen, who knows?
Who knows? I'm just saying, I don't know. Having been a secretary for 50 years and listening to telephone voices, I go, why is that voice so familiar? So when I heard it the second time, I go, it's that guy from Galt that does all those wacky but effective commercials. In fact, the Galt Toyota, Galt whatever car they're selling at the time,
right,
does the next voice thing for whatever.
All right.
It is.
Well, I did notice they have a new voice, but as far as who it is, and
that's who it is. Trust me.
I thought it was the Grease Man.
Nah, I think that fellow's name is Al. I'm not
okay.
Sure.
Well, if I see him around the station here, because you've been here before. We have a big station.
Yes.
So if I see him around, I'll tell him I said hi and congratulations.
Well, they do. They have great ads. I mean, they're great actors when they perform this particular scenario that they're doing. Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. It's 10:15. WNBF. Yeah. The only thing I know about the station is they have a really, really good talk show every weekday morning. Oh, and good news with First News from 6 to 9 with Don Morgan. Morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
DJ from Binghamton. Good morning, WNBF. Listeners, family, and friends. Hey, I went there one year and be there or be square. 5 p.m. Saturday thing. they had a grand. Is that the one where they put the grand piano outside in what Juanita Crabb called the square?
I think it's the piano that Elton John usually plays. I hope they're not making any promises, but I hope Elton John will favor us with some holiday tunes this Saturday at 5 p.m. Wouldn't that be great? Elton John, a special surprise guest. And people will be doing a double take. They'd say, who is that piano player? He's very good. And then they say, wait a second, that looks like EJ.
You know why that's great, Bob? Because Saturday night's all right for fighting. I'm bringing my boxing gloves. Whoever wants to step up.
Were you downtown on this past Saturday night? I was downtown, and I was just amazed at so many people enjoying downtown Binghamton.
Are you talking about the young women in the lounge pants all rocking around with Santa Claus hats? My brother calls me up, right? You met my brother. He used to live downtown. He don't live there anymore. And he said, hey, man, you got to get downtown. I go, for what for? He goes, there's 1,000 people outside the Grove. I'm like, what's the Grove? I had to think. The Grove is that restaurant on the corner. It used to be the Jupiter department store, kitty corner from Woolworth's department store, is now the Grove. Well, I don't run when people say run. However, I was able to get out of the house, so I did walk. And I walked down there downtown, and there were a few hundred out, and they were drunk, and there was smashed beer cans. Bob, somebody smashed the M&DR Nuts window and taped it up with shipping tape. Have you seen that?
No.
I shouldn't laugh.
No, don't laugh. This is my neighborhood. You're talking about my neighborhood. So, no, I didn't notice that. When I was here on Saturday night, all I saw were people having fun, enjoying the holidays.
Fun? Girls were screaming. They were in the little corridor of a little shop, and he was letting her. She said, you always accuse me. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. They were drunk as skunks. If skunks get drunk. I used to be drunk as a skunk, and then I used to smoke skunk. But anyway, that was the 80s. Come on, don't hold it against me, people. 45 years ago. I've been passing for 35 years. Anyway, Bob, listen. It was, different. And my brother says that they were there because it was before the Thanksgiving holiday and they're all going away. So they were riling it up in my neighborhood. Your neighborhood's Endicott. You're a 9 to 5er Binghamtonian. I'm here all the time. So,
yeah, but still, this is my neighborhood.
Yeah, 9 to 5.
This is my Binghamton neighborhood, and what happens here concerns me. So I was just glad I didn't see anything with the reported vandalism. I find that reprehensible. But
I don't know.
But as far as everybody else, I saw what was going on Saturday night. Everybody was having fun. Everybody had fun.
Saturday, yeah, because we went for a walk. Yeah, okay, it was Saturday, but I don't know when they did it. But
it probably had nothing to do. The thing is, vandalism happens, and I hate to say vandalism happens everywhere, but it does, and usually not usually. Many times it has nothing to do with anybody drinking. It just has something to do with maybe somebody fell. Maybe somebody fell and hit their head on the window. So hopefully they're okay.
Well, beer is raging and wine is a mocker, my friend, from the Proverbs. Hey, if the Spirit of the Lord is there, I will be there at 5 o'clock on Saturday, and Jared Cram better shake my hand and say, hey, DJ, happy Hanukkah, my brother from another mother, or whatever. I don't know what he celebrates.
It's happy holidays. It's happy holidays. What I always say, happy holidays. Happy holiday season.
I say Hanukkah.
Okay, well, happy holidays. Thank you. It's 10:20 at News Radio WNBF. Happy holidays from your holiday station with Bob Joseph. 607-772-1290. I might be here on Saturday, so just so you know. Not sure if that makes a difference. Oh, no, Bob might be there. Yeah, let's skip it. No. Even if I'm here, you'll still have a good time. I promise not to make any public statements. If I am here for the tree lighting. I will not make any public statements at all on Saturday. So you have my word. So I'm not gonna distract you from having a fun time here in downtown Binghamton. 607-772-1290. Go ahead, call. I encourage you to call early. Some people wait. If you notice, some people seem to wait till almost the last minute to see if they can somehow make it in under the wire before we shut the show down. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. It's better to call early. That way, you are guaranteed to get on the air. And additionally, you may have a better overall experience because we usually have more time to spend with each caller earlier in the program. Binghamton Now, live on a Monday morning. This is WNBF. It's 1024 at WNBF and WNBF.com. Returning to an earlier topic, the future of Dan Bongino. So, of interest to me over the weekend, I saw Geraldo, himself a national treasure. Geraldo, it says, rips ex-Fox colleague Bongino for having his own set of facts, but praises him as Secret Service director. So this is from the popular Mediaite website. Geraldo ripped his former Fox News colleague Bongino as a provocateur, but had only positives to say about him in leading the Secret Service amid reports that you-know-who wants him in that role. So it's interesting. Geraldo seems conflicted. He was talking about Bongino on the CNN News Channel on Friday. So it says Rivera was talking with Brianna Keilar on CNN discussing various nominations, and she asked him about Bongino, someone she noted Geraldo frequently got into heated battles with on the air when they were both on the Fox. Bongino left the Fox in 2023, and Rivera also left the same year. Brianna Keilar said, "You two sparred a lot on the Fox, and man, am I being understated. How would you feel about him being Secret Service director?" According to this story on the Mediaite website, one clash on Fox got so heated between Rivera and Bongino that Geraldo literally, not figuratively, Sean, literally, he turned his back on Bongino despite the fact that the two were remotely calling in. Bongino accused Geraldo of emotional games and spreading misinformation, while Geraldo called Bongino a punk. That was on the Fox. Personally, between you and me, I think it's like WWE. WWE, they do this stuff strictly for the entertainment value. The truth is, my guess is Geraldo Rivera and Dan Bongino actually are good friends, but when they're on the Fox, or used to be, they don't play on the Fox anymore, but they used to, when they were on the Fox, they used to do stuff like this because it's entertaining. Even if they really don't despise each other, and truth is, they probably agree on most things. According to this story on Mediaite, Geraldo told the CNN host he and Bongino would likely square off if they ran into each other today. He said Bongino is a provocateur with his own set of facts. Geraldo said, "I can't imagine anyone who I feel more fiercely combative with than Dan Bongino. If he were to walk into a bar and I was having a beer, we'd probably square off. We disagree on everything. I think he has his own set of facts. I think he's a provocateur." So I take this with a grain of salt. Geraldo started off on the right foot when he was working at Channel 7 Eyewitness News back in the 70s. He was actually a pretty pretty darn good reporter, an investigative journalist. And then over the years, he transformed into something more, not just a journalist, but more of an entertainer. Remember the time when he had his own show, his Geraldo show, and I don't know, somebody smashed a chair or something, and I think his nose got broken. But you know, I look at stuff like that, and anytime it involves Geraldo, I say, they do that to be entertaining. They do that to get more people to watch or to get the clicks. So the story says Geraldo did offer some praise for Dan Bongino in the role of heading the Secret Service. And the story notes Bongino was in the Secret Service for more than a decade. Rivera said he also felt the same about Pete Hegseth, who has been nominated to serve as Defense Secretary. Geraldo argued that despite differences with both men, he respects their service and patriotism. So, I don't know. As far as what happens with Dan Bongino, personally, this is just me speaking just from the heart right now. This is a personal thought about Bongino. I personally hope that he doesn't become director of Secret Service, because then he probably would have to give up his radio program. And if that happens, I personally don't want to be on the air 6 hours a day. So that's the problem. So I'm conflicted. I mean, obviously, for my personal enjoyment of life, you know, being on the air, say, once or twice a week for 6 hours wouldn't be bad, but being on every day from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. would be a bit grueling. You know, 30 hours of talk radio a week, the only person who ever was able to pull that off was Larry King. And Larry King was an Iron Man. He was the Iron Man of radio. He did that every night. I think he was on with his original overnight syndicated show, his national show when it was on Mutual. I think it was on from midnight to 5:30. And he did it with flair and distinction, but that's because he had the strength of 10 men. So as much as I would be willing, because I am a team player here at the WNBF station, and if that slot somehow wound up being freed up because Bongino was going to be directing the Secret Service, well, of course, if asked, I would fill up that slot from noon to 3, but I have to admit, you know, on some days it probably would be, it would test my endurance, we'll just say. Not that I can't do it, not that I wouldn't. I'm just saying, let's just keep our fingers crossed that Bongino stays where he is. Now, as far as if Hannity, that's another thing. If Hannity gets nominated for something, that's a different story. Because then, say if Hannity's slot gets freed up, then it wouldn't be so bad. We could have Binghamton Now AM edition from 9 to noon, and then Binghamton Now PM edition from 3 to 6. But the reason why that wouldn't be as arduous for me is I would get a 3-hour break between the morning and the afternoon editions of the program, as opposed to having to do 6 hours, 6 continuous hours. So we'll see. We haven't heard what Hannity's going to be nominated for. And then Levin, some people really thought Levin was going to be nominated for even potentially Attorney General. I think Levin would have been a great choice for Attorney General. But again, when you start nominating radio and TV people, that starts to cause havoc with broadcast schedules. So that's why I'm urging President-elect Donald John Trump to use discretion with his future nominees, because keep in mind, these people may be your choices for your new administration, but also keep in mind the problems that it could cause for radio and TV stations and networks. So never lose sight of the most important thing, and that's the continuity of the radio and TV broadcast schedules. It's 10:34 at WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Bob from Boston.
Hey, welcome. Did you have a good weekend?
No. I never have any. Okay, I just left the cable company, paid my bill. You want to be on for 6 hours? I'm about to lose my breakfast over the ride from there to 15 minutes home.
No, I just said I don't want to be on. I said if the problem is, if Bongino is directing the Secret Service, the question comes up, can he be Secret Service director and still do his award-winning show here on WNBF from noon to 3? Can he do both at the same time?
I don't know. That's stupid to even speculate. You probably hope you don't take over the Secret Service because they'll straighten that mess out.
I know the mess needs to be straightened out. I've been very outspoken in my concerns about the way the Secret Service is operating. I mean, it's clear just the way things have gone over the last 6 months. There is an operational mess, and I'm hesitant to use that word on the air, but it's true, an operational mess at the Secret Service that desperately cries out for immediate action.
Everywhere, not just that, everything those people touch turns to blank, and you know it, but you won't admit it. I notice not many people are calling. I think maybe your popularity there, Joseph, is fading.
No, I think I'm as popular as ever, but I also am cognizant that most listeners to this program between 9 and noon are busy working. So it's not fewer listeners, it's listeners especially during this holiday week. They're very, very busy, so it's very difficult when you're stocking up on all the stuff you need for Thanksgiving dinner and doing some of your holiday shopping. It's very difficult to do that at the same time that you're calling into this program.
I don't believe that for a minute.
Well, I believe it for a minute. That is the truth. That's the toughest thing about doing a program in this time slot. Anybody can do a show from 3 to 6 or 6 to 9. That's when more people are available to call in. But trying to do a show from 9 a.m. to noon, the only people, for the most part, who have time to call in are retirees and inmates.
Yeah, and we are smarter than anybody.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the people who do have the time to call in, but I'm also cognizant we have, I'd say, of any show in Broome County, any radio program, not just talk, but music, I bet more police officers, more firefighters, more EMS people, more government workers, more attorneys, more people, the best and the brightest in Broome County, typically, if they do have a chance to listen to radio from 9 to noon, typically they're listening to this program. The bottom line is most of them don't have the ability to call in right now because they're in the middle of working, but they are able to listen to the program as they work.
You babble. You know what?
Oh, yeah, and you don't? Wait a second. So you make an accusation or an observation, and it's what I think is you like everything you hear on this program.
No, I don't.
That's what no. You're gonna, of course, you're never gonna acknowledge publicly on the program how much you love this program, but despite your protests, you still listen. You still listen to the greatest program WNBF has ever scheduled.
I was just coming back from paying my cable bill. Didn't I tell you that? That's the only reason you were on there. I couldn't get Gallagher. It doesn't come in unless I'm in certain places down in Appalachian. It comes in.
Well, don't listen to him. Listen to a local show. Gallagher knows nothing about Binghamton. Joseph knows everything about Binghamton.
You knocked Binghamton. You knocked Vestal. You're a strange man. You know that?
The best, only the best for Binghamton.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. This is the very best for Binghamton. Now, I'm not going to knock Gallagher. He has his place in the media infrastructure, but his show is a national show. He never talks about Binghamton or Vestal.
He's not a liberal.
So, I talk about Binghamton and Vestal and Endwell and Endicott and Appalachian and Owego and Windsor and Natticoke and Maine and even Susquehanna. And Gallagher never does.
Oh, God. Boy, talking to you is like a third grade. I'm telling you. Why would Gallagher talk about Binghamton? He doesn't live here. He doesn't know anything about Binghamton.
I'm glad he doesn't talk about Binghamton. You're right. He knows nothing about Binghamton. He doesn't care about Binghamton the way I do.
You care about your little radio show.
No, this is not a little radio show. This is the radio show. It's not little or big. It's just right. And this is the best program currently on any radio station in Binghamton, except for a couple of others.
Have him put me on one of your other channels. He'll be off the air.
No.
Yes. No. I'm more interested. I talk about movies, music, different things. I heard you knocking Trump again.
I haven't knocked the guy. Not today.
Yes.
No, not today. I've been on for 90 minutes, and I haven't once knocked him.
Yes, you did.
No. Tell me how I knocked him.
I was pulling in to pay my bill, and you were saying something derogatory as usual about that man cannot do anything in your book. And I'm tired of these people that we're going to fight him. We need to clean up these people that are murdering, letting little kids run. 2-year-old kid they showed a clip of. She had a little Post-it note with a damn phone number on it. Now, do you think that's normal? We need to get this country back in shape, and you people are going to fight against it. You liberals, what in the hell? All right, I'm sick of it.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving. It's 1041 WNBF with the attitude of gratitude. If you want to talk more about our Thanksgiving week thoughts, concerns, and the things for which we have to be thankful, 607-772-1290. This is your station. I'm Bob Joseph. On your side, WNBF. 1044 as we march forward, looking to Thursday, as some people would call it, Turkey Day. I refuse to call it that, but some people do, and it's okay. It's okay. That's their prerogative. So, let's see. As we look forward to the forecast here. Well, it's not just looking forward, it's what it is today. Partly sunny, high 47. Showers tonight, low 40. Showers tomorrow mainly in the morning, high 51. Partly sunny Wednesday, high 45. And rain for Turkey Day, high 42. Right now, it's 41 in downtown Binghamton. That's 5 Celsius here at News Radio, WNBF, WNBF.com. And yes, Dan Bongino will be on from noon to 3 today. Never fear. Bongino is here. Kirsten Gillibrand is taking a page from Charles Schumer. She enjoys holding news conferences on Sundays now. And we've discussed this in the past because the reason why Schumer became notorious or infamous for holding news conferences on Sundays, he learned a long time ago that the news media, this is even before the latest rounds of cutbacks in the news industry, but Schumer, or somebody on his staff and his press office, somebody discovered that news organizations are either totally unstaffed or poorly staffed on weekends. So best thing for an elected official, especially a senator, especially for somebody who enjoys TV cameras as much as Charles Schumer does, the best thing is to hold a news conference on Sunday afternoons. And that way, not only do you get FaceTime on the 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock TV newscast, but you also are on the newscast on Monday morning, not just TV but radio. So that's how it works. So Schumer, I would say probably for at least the last 50 years has been holding news conferences on Sunday, not because he has anything really interesting to say, but he wants attention. And we in the media will gladly give him attention because that means it's one less story we have to do. We don't have to use, if we get a clip, say, from a Schumer news conference, then that means we don't have to use something from the network feed about some crazy story about a chipmunk in Idaho or wherever. You can actually have something that gives the illusion of almost local. So you put a senator, Schumer, or in this case now Gillibrand, put one of them on in your newscast, you say, oh, well, that's a New York-related story, so what the heck? And so the New York City stations love it. They send out one of their younger reporters, or most likely a multimedia journalist, which means somebody with a phone, to go out to Schumer's Manhattan office or Gillibrand's Manhattan office and get a couple of sound bites. So that'll knock out about 50 seconds in your newscast till the weather comes on. So anyway, let me see what did Gillibrand have to say this weekend I thought was notable. Oh, she called on this is what Gillibrand said yesterday. Gillibrand calls on feds to boost climate resiliency amid rise in wildfires. So she showed up at her Manhattan office yesterday to get free exposure on the 6 and 11 o'clock TV newscast and talking about how she wants more money to be spent. If you notice that, these elected officials, mainly from Washington, but elected officials in general, usually their proposals always call for the spending of more money. And I was talking with somebody about this last night, and I was told, well, because, there was something specific here in Broome County that really does need to be addressed. And I said, well, out of all the priorities in Broome County, I don't want my tax dollars to pay for that. I'm not saying it's something that shouldn't be addressed. I just don't want to, as a taxpayer. I say my state and federal taxes are already too high. So, let's let that particular issue, let's just leave it because it's not a high priority item. And I'm at the point now where I am, believe it or not, from a tax standpoint, I'm at my limit. I've decided I no longer really need to be taxed anymore by local, state, and federal governments. I'm good. I'm good. Keep taxing me at the same rate and keep spending my money, but stop these schemes to increase my taxes. I don't need more of these optional things. And I could come up with a list. I've got my circle of friends and acquaintances is fairly big, but they all seem to agree on one thing, that they can't afford any more taxes. And that's Republicans, Democrats, Independents, conservatives, liberals. That's the one thing they agree when we talk about what's going to happen, say, in the next year. And they have different hopes, different dreams, different aspirations of what could happen in the next 12 months in New York State and for this country. But the one thing they seem unified about is just stop raising my taxes. Which is, when you think about it, it's pretty good. You know, we are, in that respect, we are the United States of America. Stop with the frivolous spending and start finding ways to spend less and tax less. So that's actually, even though I have concerns about Elon Musk and what he's going to be doing over the next 4 years, I do have real concerns. But if he actually can help the next president figure out ways to appropriately reduce spending and taxes, then I'll be the first to say, good work, buddy. It's 10:53. Oh, I found, here's a clip apparently from the Kirsten Gillibrand news conference, because she wanted attention, so she called reporters to her Manhattan office on Sunday. In response to recent wildfires in New York City, Kirsten Gillibrand wants emergency federal funding to train the FDNY, who are more accustomed to battling urban fires. Again, that was the bottom line for her message at her Sunday afternoon news conference. She wants more federal money to be spent.
They know how it spreads through a building. They know how it spreads through an electric grid. They know how it can spread in a city. But learning how to deal with a wildfire, how to stop it, where to dump water, how to stop it from expanding is a totally different training.
All right. Okay. Of course, now I'm looking at Kirsten Gillibrand. And this goes back, I have to admit, both Kirsten Gillibrand and Charles Schumer at one of these Sunday news conferences, and this is from last year, talked about lithium-ion battery fires, which is interesting. And people, whether you're in Binghamton or Vestal or Owego or Endicott, people ought to pay attention to what Kirsten Gillibrand and Charles Schumer had to say last year about lithium-ion batteries. I forgot about how deadly they are.
Just this year, lithium-ion battery explosions have caused 63 fires in New York City, killing 5 people and injuring many more. Last year, they caused 220 fires.
All right. Again, that's from last year when that was a double feature. That's when Kirsten Gillibrand and Charles Schumer appeared together on a Sunday in New York City, because they agree that lithium-ion batteries pose a public safety hazard, and they agree that more needs to be done.
These batteries are now as common as a toaster, but far more dangerous. That's the problem.
True. That is the problem. And the question is, so that was last year. The question is, so what has changed? Have they done anything? You know, I'm happy. I'm happy that they're planning to build or manufacture lots of batteries in Endicott. At least they say they plan to. But I still have safety questions. I just have safety questions. I don't know if they have thought it through with their gigafactory, because if they're going to be churning out millions of batteries, does that put anybody at risk? Does that put the public in Endicott or the firefighters in Endicott and Broome County? Does that mean they're at risk for, what happens? I'm not saying anything will happen. Maybe nothing will ever happen. But just in case something happens, don't you want to know that they're ready? That they're ready to safely deal with any problems that develop from all those lithium-ion batteries.
When you hear from the fire commissioner that our firefighters are having to learn in real time about these dangers because they can explode and combust, particularly in fires, you know that we need to act quickly.
All right. Again, that's Schumer talking last year. I want to know, since he said that, what exactly has been done to protect our firefighters and other first responders when good batteries go bad? What if a battery is swelling? You've seen those batteries, how they swell sometimes, and that's a bad thing, or it can be a bad thing. So we'll see what happens. It's 10:57. This is Bob Joseph. It's Monday morning, Thanksgiving week. We have so much to be thankful for, including another hour of Binghamton Now coming right up. It's 11:10, and can't wait for turkey. It's time for turkey. Turkey talk. Have they run any of those stories yet? It seems like let me just see. Every year, like clockwork, it's the same story time again. Let's see. So there's a company. They are known for turkeys. Oh, here's one. And I'm not going to mention the name of the company. They get too much free publicity already. So I did a search to see if they run this story again. And they have a hotline for dumb people. Excuse me, they have a hotline for people who don't know how to prepare a turkey for the holidays. And the whole point, the purported reason for the hotline is so they can teach people how to properly prepare turkeys. When in fact, the only reason they have the hotline is so they can get free publicity every year from news stories promoting their brand. So that's every year. Thanksgiving week and then going through the holiday season, they get billions of dollars in free advertising because they have an 800 number where people are supposed to call if they need help preparing a holiday turkey. So I see some TV station in Boston already has run that story. They did it on Friday, so they're ahead of the game. So be prepared. You're going to see that story in various iterations over the next 6 weeks. All right, let's take a call. Good morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, Joe of Greater Ithaca would like to make some nominations for the secretarial positions in our new government.
Okay, I've got a pen. Fire away, Joe.
Okay. Number 1 is Alex Jones for Secretary of Propaganda. Number 2 is Ralph Terry for Secretary of Female Reproduction. And finally, Musty Huba for Secretary of Mine Safety.
Oh, my gosh. Well, actually, it's a little too late now to do it. Well, we could still do it today, but tomorrow, it occurs to me, tomorrow we will focus the entire program on better choices, because President-elect Donald John Trump already has announced most of his major choices for his new administration. But I believe Republicans and Democrats alike think there are better choices. So that's what we'll do tomorrow. Better choices for the new administration. Because we already saw Matt Gaetz, his nomination went down in flames. Although that was a special case, that was all part of some sort of scheme on the part of Matt Gaetz, so they wouldn't release that report. The Ethics Committee had prepared a fine report at taxpayer expense, so we were all looking forward to the release of the report last week. And since he got nominated, or at least not officially nominated, but because the president-elect put out the word he was going to choose Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General. I mean, even now, it's hard to say it without laughing. But that was all part of a crazy scheme to give Matt Gaetz cover to resign mysteriously from the House of Representatives when he didn't have to. I mean, he could have stayed in the House until the Senate acted on his nomination, but we know it was all a ploy, so that ethics committee report wouldn't be publicly released. So, but to your point, yeah, tomorrow we'll encourage listeners to come up with better choices for the president-elect.
I have a replacement for John Bongino. Okay.
Yeah, who would be good? In the unlikely event Bongino winds up becoming Secret Service director, who would be better to be on the noon to 3 slot?
Well, see, it wouldn't be a particular individual, but it would be the kind of show it would be. There was a cartoon type of thing with Ernest Borgnine called The Dinosaurs a long time ago. I don't know if you ever saw that or not. Anyway, they had things on like DNN, Dinosaur, News Network, and a lot of things like that were relative. And one of the things they had was a call-in show. And the call-in show was called Just Listening. And the moderator would be there, if you want to call him that, and people would call in and say whatever they want. And he'd say, just listening, and he wouldn't respond to anything, just kind of agree or okay with anything they do.
Well, that sounds like what C-SPAN does.
Yeah.
Yeah, C-SPAN you have a Republican line, a Democratic line, and I think an independent line, and they answer the phone, and these are real people. These aren't AI. They're actual, real, breathing human beings, unless they finally have been replaced. And basically, it sort of goes like this. This is C-SPAN. You're on the Republican line. What are you thinking about? Then they sit there for about a minute or 2 minutes and just listen.
Well, when people say kind of outrageous things or insults and stuff, they cut them off. And they do, depends on the moderator who's there, will question and they'll look up things, and show that the person is wrong.
But it's a different program. The C-SPAN approach is totally different from this program. This program has a host who, if I hear something that strikes me as BS, I'm going to intervene quite fast, whereas C-SPAN, they might, when they hear BS, they might allow the person to continue spewing something that appears to be false, but then they'll more politely respond to the person who's just unleashed a load of falsehood on TV. But their approach is different than my approach usually.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But see, what I have in mind is like C-SPAN 2.0, something that you never cut anybody off. You let them say whatever outrageous thing they want to say.
Should I try that? How about if I try that tomorrow instead?
No,
Bob Joseph, just listening.
This is going to replace Bongino then.
Oh, okay. Actually, that's a good idea. And I could even host it because that'll require actually no real brain power. I mean, it'll require minimal work on my part because I'll just have to physically punch up the phone line and say, good afternoon, WNBF. We're just listening. And then the person the caller identifies himself. This is, I don't know. This is Felicia from Franklin Forks. And then she is allowed to talk for, I guess we would set a time. How much time should we allot per call?
Oh, it would be unlimited. Okay?
Well, then some of our listeners could go for 3 hours talking. You have to have some limit.
Well, it could be a filibuster, In other words,
it would just fade out at the appropriate point when we have to take a commercial break because we do have to make money. So it would be something like this. So even if they've been pontificating for 12 or 14 minutes, then a disembodied voice would come on and say something along the lines, you're listening to, this is WNBF's Just Listening. We'll continue after these important massages. Then the important massages are on for about 3 minutes. Then, after the break, we play a jingle. We now return to WNBF's Just Listening. And then if the previous caller is still talking, which they might be, then we just gradually increase the volume and they continue till the next commercial break or until they relinquish the line.
You see, you did have something. You had a replacement, and it was a very nice gentleman, and he was so agreeable. A lot of people liked that because they weren't challenged, the way you do.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard a lot of people who had refrained from calling because they finally got tired of a live human, say if they spewed anything that was total BS, Barbara Streisand, or if it was a conspiracy theory, that they got sick and tired of me calling them on it, or more often saying, well, what's your source of that? And then people would suddenly clam up and say, well, it's something I heard, or it's something I read. They were unable to pinpoint an actual source, just that, well, people are saying, which, let's face it, Joe, a lot of people say a lot of things.
Yeah, I heard. Well, you might have been talking to yourself for that. I heard.
All right. Well, I appreciate your input. We're in for a challenging time, and in the unlikely event we lose Bongino, we're going to face some very important decisions. So I appreciate your help.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 11:21. Again, if you're just joining us, don't worry. Don't worry. There's nothing official about Bongino becoming Secret Service director. Personally, I almost think this is something Bongino is putting out there as part of a ploy just to get attention. That's my suspicion. I can't prove it, but it does have that. Doesn't it have that feel where somebody calls up some friends he knows? Because Bongino has friends at the Washington Post and the New York Times, the New York Post. He has friends in the media. So I can picture Bongino or somebody in his family, but most likely Bongino calling up somebody he knows in the liberal media and saying, hey, could you run some kind of a blind item that I'm under consideration for Secret Service director? And then his friend says, well, are you really? No, but could you run it? Sure. Thanks. And everybody wins. Bongino gets the attention that he wants. The media get the clicks that they need. So everybody is a winner. So maybe that's the truth. Maybe, in point of fact, somebody else is being actively considered to be Secret Service director. Somebody, dare I say, better than Bongino? It's 11:22. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Tom from Susquehanna.
Good morning, Tom.
Bob. Hi, how you doing? Listen, that is a conspiracy theory. I mean, my God, how you're really going to the bottom of the barrel on this one. I mean, I don't listen to Bongino, but I think he would make I did listen to him a few times. I didn't go all the way through. But I think he would make a good Secret Service thing. He would change it, and he would be good. Also, what are they going to do with those hours? Could they push you up to them?
That's what I was saying. They could force me. I mean, not that they could literally force me, but they could ask me politely if I would extend the program until 3, which I could. I could do it. I mean, you hear me. I certainly could do a talk show for 6 hours a day if required.
Well, if they would double your pay, I would say good. But I don't think you should go for 6 hours. But, I mean, if you were on from 12 to 3, that would be a lot more convenient for people to listen to.
Oh, and
then
in the morning, then who would we put on? Who could we put on from 9 to noon? Then this becomes a challenge. This becomes a challenge from a programming standpoint.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to do it, you got a lot of guys that call up that say they can do a better job than you.
Well,
now,
so you recommend one. You recommend one person. You're right. A lot of people think they can do a much better job than I can, and between you and me, I think they're right. So nominate just one person.
No. Let them come in. Let them come in.
Oh, audition.
And have it. Right.
I mean, like
have them come in. Have them try 3 hours a day and see how it goes. It was like that guy, Alex Baldwin. You know, he's an actor. He's a pretty good actor. I don't agree with him politically on anything.
No, I don't agree with him politically, but from an acting standpoint, he's very good.
Yeah, did you see his show?
Yes.
I did not see it. They had him on it. He didn't know what the hell he was doing.
I know. I heard it. Just like Andrew Cuomo. One time.
Hannity and Levine called him up. I didn't hear it. I missed the whole thing, but I would have given my eye teeth to listen to that. Hey, Howard, did you lose power?
Yeah, my power was out. And I felt not too long. Not too long compared to some people.
3 days down here.
Yeah. Is it back on now?
Oh, yeah. No, well, that's why I can call now.
All right.
But I set up a lot of stuff there, and I got, backups and stuff. But, Jesus, they say there's people still without power down here.
Yeah, I was out over in Westover this morning. You know where that is, Westover, near Johnson City. And the parking lot was filled with dozens of utility trucks. So I stopped by to talk to some of the line crews because they staged there. They were working in the region over the weekend. And then I'm sure they stayed at some local hotels and then came back this morning around 8:30 to fan out again to go to areas to restore power. But there must have been maybe 35 or 40 utility trucks, and they were all from out of state. They had Michigan plates, Indiana plates, Oklahoma plates. So a lot of these, I talked with one of the supervisors, and I said, well, how long do you think you're going to be up here restoring power? And he said, well, I don't think much longer, but he did say, I hope we get home for Thanksgiving. But they made a lot of progress over the weekend. They were really busy.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I can't believe it. I mean, like the longest we were out were 5 days, and that was that 4 feet of snow. But I mean, after 3 days, things start to get a little bit hairy here. How long were you out?
Oh, for the most part, my power was out just for several hours. And by the way, the weird thing about it, and I'm very fortunate, the power was out only when I was at work. I was able to calculate because of the clocks and timers and stuff coming back on. I was able to calculate my power was out for several hours, but it was only when I was at work on Friday, oddly enough.
Oh, so that was no big deal.
Oh,
that
no.
Was good. Yeah.
Well, the house was the house was cold, but fortunately the power was on when I got back, so then by then the furnace was starting to warm the place back up. But yeah, so on Friday I personally was not inconvenienced by power the way so many thousands of people had to deal with that.
Well, I've got 3. My house is total electric. But I've got 2 backups that work perfectly. And I'm thinking about maybe getting a Generac for the well. That's the only thing. The water is the problem. But I got the water on the thing. All right, let's hope that Bongino gets it, right?
Oh, I hope he does. I hope he does. And then I think you're right. I think if Bongino gets the Secret Service job, then I can have Binghamton Now on from noon to 3. Which means that's actually.
How do you know you're not going to get the press secretary job? So you better be careful.
But he already named her. He already has named. Yeah, he named his choice for press secretary, and she's the youngest press secretary ever. Guess how old she is?
How old is she? 12 years old?
Come on, man.
Well, I mean, they're getting younger and younger.
No, she's 27.
Oh, all right, yeah. No, that sounds
good.
Yeah. Hey, your boy Gertz had a little bit of a problem. You know, he comes from one of the wealthiest families in Florida. Did you know that?
Who?
Getz. The guy that everybody
Bernie
was
Getz.
against.
Bernie Getz comes from one of the.
No, Gates.
Oh, Matt Gaetz. Oh, I thought you were talking about Bernie Getz, and I'm saying, you know, Donald Trump. Excuse me, President-elect Donald John Trump is entitled to nominate anybody he wants for his new administration. But I got to say, I'm going to have a raised eyebrow if he nominates Bernie Getz or anything. What, you know, Bernie Getz, what, Secretary of Subways? Come on, man. That's sick.
Hey, I'll tell you the truth. I'd go along with him. I agreed with him.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought his name up, because you're a former NYPD cop, so I know you have thoughts about Bernie Getz.
Oh, yeah. Hey, 4 guys attack him on the subway with you know what they had? Oh, we only had screwdrivers. They had sharpened screwdrivers, Bobby.
I know.
Yeah. I mean,
by the way, so I'm just looking.
You don't like Bernie?
No, I don't like Bernie. He shot people. But you know what I'm looking at? Do you realize
he shot people because they deserve to be shot?
He shouldn't be out on the subway with a gun because somebody could get hurt. Innocent people could have gotten hurt. So
yeah,
what?
If he didn't have it, he would have gotten hurt, and the mutts would have got away. What would you do if you're well, there's no subways up by you. But, I mean, if you
we have subways. I just went to a subway last Thursday. They have a $5 foot long, except now it's $15.
Okay,
now it's a $5 foot long at our subway. Now it's $15 thanks to Joe Biden.
Oh, boy, yeah. Well,
you see what I did there?
All right, so you're sitting in your subway ordering your sandwich.
Yeah. Oh, and you're trying to say if I'm sitting in the subway in Binghamton on the west side and 4 punks come in,
right?
What am I going to do? 4 punks try to rob me.
Hold on now. If the 4 punks come in all the time.
Yeah, but try to rob me. No, I don't mind.
They grab you, and they got sharpened screwdrivers. What are you going to do?
They better not. I'm not going to say on the air. Here's why I can't answer that question, because if I say on the air what I would do, and then it happens, then some prosecutor, some do-good liberal prosecutor, is going to haul my butt into court and then play the audio of this program and then say, oh, so he already had thought about this on November 25th about what he would do if 4 punks came in with sharpened screwdrivers at the subway on Main Street and tried to rob him, and then they would say that it was premeditated. That's why I can't talk about it.
Yeah, well, you know, he gave himself up.
I know.
Bernie would have never gone to court.
But here's the thing. Do you recall when that happened?
Yeah.
When?
Why? What about it?
No, because it's almost the 40th anniversary. It was 3 days before Christmas. Yes, 3 days before Christmas, 1984. So, and guess how old Bernie Getz is today?
How old?
Guess.
80-something.
77.
Oh.
So what I'm thinking, because the anniversary is coming up, and because nobody has talked to the guy in several years, I'm thinking of getting hold of Bernie Getz to talk about what happened on December 22nd, 1984. Wouldn't that be an interesting conversation?
Yes. Could you get in touch with him?
Sure. Would you listen?
How do you know? Where does he live?
I'm not going to say where he lives.
Oh.
I'm not going to put out his private information on the air.
You can put out my information on the air, because I'll tell you what I'd do with when they...
No, don't. Don't.
What would you... What?
Don't. Whatever you were going to say, don't.
Why not?
Because it could be used against you in the court of law. What you say on this program could come back to haunt you. Choose your statements carefully, because they could use it to prosecute you if something horrible happens, and then they say, oh, Tom from Susquehanna was on the program in November, and he said this, that, and the other thing, and then the judge allows the tape of this conversation to be introduced as evidence, and then you wind up doing big time, like as in 10 to 20 years.
All right, listen to this, Bobby. In other words, if I'm attacked by someone. Now, I don't know if you carry a gun. I don't think you do because you said you did, but then you said you didn't, so I don't know. But if I'm attacked...
Now, let me be clear. Let me be crystal clear in case there's any question about I don't carry a gun. I do not.
Well, it's good to say you don't.
Yeah, and I won't, just so you know. I'm saying, you know, and some people would say, well, you're really stupid to say that on the air. Well, at least, no, I have the courage to say it on the air. I don't carry a gun, and I won't carry a gun. Now, a lot of other people make other choices, and that's up to them. I'm just saying, personally, for me, I personally, Bob, don't carry a gun, nor do I intend to ever. If people make other choices, I respect that.
Well, you see, I've got core beliefs. I believe in something. And when they start to interfere with my core beliefs that they can use it against me, well, then that's when I have to go after them. I mean, if I have to worry about what I say and what I believe, this is ridiculous. I mean, we have the right to liberty and free speech. This is what's wrong with this country, and I hope that Trump turns it around, because I'm sick of and tired of people saying, oh, you can't say that, you can't say this. Yes, I can say it, and I'll take the consequences for it. And the trouble with the Democrats is that they say it, but there's no consequences. But they look to put consequences on me. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? No, so what do you think?
Well, I agree. Donald Trump should let me say whatever I want on the radio. That's why if he appoints the right FCC commissioner, then we don't have to worry what I say on the radio. Right now, I'm always a millisecond away from getting fired and probably getting in big trouble with the FCC because of their rules. But if President-elect Donald John Trump, if he chooses the right FCC commissioner, and that way they can make it so good talk show hosts don't have to worry about being fired if they accidentally say something.
Well, first of all, Bob, you are careful. I mean, you let everybody go. We know your opinion. We know that you're a Democrat and you're liberal, and that's fine, and you can say it. But I mean, I think you're overcautious. You should look at. Remember that guy, Bob Grant, that used to be on? Did you ever hear some of the stuff he said?
Yeah, I did, and I'll tell you this: if I said some of the stuff Bob Grant said routinely on his program, including when it was on NBF, then I would be fired so fast it'd make your head spin.
That's not right.
Well, no, it's not right.
Why would they do that?
They have a double standard. No. So here's the truth, Tom. There's a double standard. Okay. So Bongino, between noon and 3, can say a lot of things. Or Hannity can say a lot of things from 3 to 6. Yeah. Or Levin can say a lot of things. Hannity. Yeah, but here's my point. So Bongino, Hannity, Levin can say a lot of things on their shows, and yet if I said the same things the next day on my show, I would be fired so fast it'd make your head spin.
Well, listen, Bobby, how old are you? You're getting up there, right?
Oh, I'm way old. It's amazing I can even ambulate, to be able to hobble into the studio. So I am so old, it's amazing that I still have a show.
Yeah, no. You're 60. You're getting close to 65. Be serious now.
Well, I am really serious. I'm too old for this. I mean, this is a young man's business.
No. How you're sitting in the thing there talking to? I'm 80. I'm 82 years old, and I'm talking to you on the phone. It's not a young man's business.
No, for listeners, it's not, because you can speak from the comfort of your living room. Me, every day, regardless of weather, I have to get in here, into the studio, and I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying I'm an old-timer. Look, Dan Bongino is a youngster.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I think he's close. He's into his 50s.
No, he isn't. He's 49.
What?
Yeah, Bongino is 49. In fact, and he's going to punch me in the nose if he ever sees me, but he'll never see me. But if Bongino sees me, he's going to punch me in the nose. He's going to turn 50 on December 4th.
50 is nothing.
I know. That's my point. He's a young man in a young man's business.
You know, I guess he didn't retire from the police department.
No, he got fired.
New York City, he got fired?
Well, I don't know. Look, I take that back because I don't know what. So here's but here's my question.
What?
So you worked for NYPD. You worked for NYPD for years, right? How many years?
Yes.
How many years were you on the job?
What?
How many years were you on the job at NYPD?
I was on the job for 18 years before I got shot up.
So you were there for nearly 2 decades. Bongino was there from 1995 to 1999. How many people do you know who were serious about law enforcement and serious enough to get a job at NYPD? How many do you know stayed on the job for only 4 years?
Not many.
Well, see, that's my...
I don't know any.
Well, that's why I'm curious about, and see, that'll be one good thing if he's chosen to be Secret Service director, then we can finally find out why he was with NYPD for only 4 years.
Yeah, but he was also with the Secret Service. Didn't he get a pension from them?
He was with Secret Service from 1999 to 2011. Oh, maybe I answered my own question. So maybe he was with NYPD for just a few years, and then he decided he wanted to be a Secret Service agent because he served with Secret Service from 1999 to 2011. So, maybe I answered my own question.
But that's only 10 years. You don't get a pension after 10.
Right.
You can vest maybe after 15.
Right. But what I'm saying about Bongino is he's bounced around. See, at least here, like WNBF, I've been here for many years. So I think I serve as an example of stability as opposed to Bongino. He's been all over the place. He was NYPD, Secret Service, podcaster, publishing books. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, I don't know.
He also published stuff on the conspiracy theory website InfoWars. I forgot about that.
Well, if they're going to vest them, they're going to pull up all this bad stuff about them. So that's one thing good about the vesting. It was
on the insurrection day. On the insurrection day,
there was no insurrection. Who was charged with insurrection, Bobby?
Well, they call it nobody.
Charged with insurrection.
Nobody's charged with it, but they call it Insurrection Day. So on Insurrection Day,
you call it insurrection. This would be called a riot, and if they were Democrats, it would be called a peaceful demonstration.
All right, in the wake of the Capitol riots, Bongino's Twitter account was temporarily shut down for violating Twitter's policy. So on the day of the Capitol riots, they actually shut down Bongino's Twitter account because he couldn't follow the policy of the Twitter.
Yeah, well, if anybody with any sense saw that coming, and if you go back to the tapes, you'll see, I think, because my wife was saying, why don't we go down there? I says, you know what? There's going to be 300,000 people down there. That is mob rule if this thing gets out of hand.
And it could have gotten out of hand.
I know. Well, let me tell you something. Look back if you got tapes, because you asked me about this. You said, are you going down there because you knew I'm a Trump supporter and a MAGA supporter. And I says, there's no way I'm going down there. I says, this is a disaster. They should have never gone down there because all you need is a few rotten apples or a few instigators, and this is what happened.
I know. Appreciate your call. Hope you have a great day.
Okay, Bobby. Bye.
11:44 WNBF. Dan Bongino coming up in less than 30 minutes, so stay tuned. Bongino, maybe he'll even announce. He may have a very big announcement on today's program, probably right around 2:57 at the end of the program. Maybe he'll tease it when he comes on right after Binghamton Now. He'll tease it for 2.5 hours, and then right before he leaves the air, he'll have a very important announcement about his future. So stay tuned to 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, streaming at WNBF.com. Don't walk away. Seems to me you do want to talk about it. 607-772-1290. Go ahead, talk about it. You'll feel better. You'll feel better after you talk about it, right? Here's the forecast from the National Weather Service, from their global headquarters, the Binghamton global headquarters, top Mount Ettrick. Partly sunny this afternoon, high 47. Showers tonight, low 40. Showers tomorrow, mainly in the morning, high 51. Partly sunny Wednesday, high 45. And rain Thanksgiving Day, high 42. And right now, here in downtown Binghamton, it is a delightful 44. That's 7 Celsius. News Radio, WNBF. If you were celebrating the holidays in downtown Binghamton, Saturday afternoon and Saturday night, give me a call. Let me know what you thought. Did you have as much fun as you expected? I mentioned earlier in the program, people seem to be having a lot of fun. So that made me happy. Anytime I see people having a lot of fun in downtown Binghamton, I think it's great. So kudos to everybody who was having a lot of fun. Also, kudos to BPD for keeping an eye on things, just in case. Just in case. You always have to have people around to keep an eye on things, just in case. Here's a little weather guidance from the forecasters at Mount Ettrick. We are monitoring the potential for winter weather to impact the region Wednesday night through Thanksgiving and into Friday. Details on timing, location, and strength of this system remain very uncertain. So they say keep listening to the forecast, especially if you're going to be traveling for the holiday. So Dave Nicosia alluded to that last Friday when we were talking. He said, well, I'm paraphrasing. Well, looks like we might get a storm around Thanksgiving. Well, so it does appear, say at a minimum on Thanksgiving Day, it's probably going to be rainy. At this stage, who knows if there could be a little bit of snow or ice or anything like that added to the holiday mix. Put that in your eggnog. It's 11:49. Binghamton Now, live and local, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, streaming at WNBF.com. And let's go to those busy phones. Hi, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
It's Beverly from the town of Dickinson. Yeah, the what's his name? McDonald's up here is short-handed, so they're only open so many hours.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So do they still have quarter pounders?
That I don't know, Bob. I haven't been in there. One of the social workers brought me some kind of a ice cream, and it was tasted pretty good. I can't remember, and they sell those lattes too.
Oh, do you like those lattes? I never had one from there. Have you had one?
I like them. I mean, I won't drink one every day, but I do like them, though.
You know what I had the other day? Do you ever drink eggnog? Eggnog?
Oh, Bob, you can make that yourself.
Yeah, but you can't make it as good as the people. They have eggnog company called Purity Eggnog Company. Well, it's not really a company, but they're from Ithaca, and you have to look closely.
I'm drinking that.
Yeah, so it's really good because all they use, instead of a lot of the other nog companies, they use cheap ingredients. But this company uses really expensive ingredients. So if you buy their eggnog, it's costly, but it's good.
Yeah. Where can you get them? In a grocery store?
Yep. But the thing that's funny about it, they're from Ithaca, but if you run the number, the plant number, where it's processed, because every dairy product has to include the plant number. So you run the number and come to find out they don't actually make it in Ithaca. They have a company, a different company, I think, making it at a factory in Syracuse.
Oh. Yeah, you can basically make them yourself.
Oh, I know you can.
Yep.
But I can't make it as good as that.
No.
Because they have a special recipe.
Oh, yeah.
And, man, that's good. I mean, it's expensive. Yeah. Don't kid yourself. I mean...
Oh, I know that.
One time I...
Never did get the good kind.
Right, one time...
that coffee place up here, man, is that awesome.
Which one, the new one?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. I've heard from people saying that they just love... Because they have coffee and other drinks. They have coffee and energy drinks and other stuff. So I've heard people really like it.
Yeah. We waited in line, I don't know, about 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, my youngest daughter took me up. She says, we went to Lowe's, you know, and I said, there's a coffee place around here. I said, it's new. She says, you want to go? I said, you bet. So we went down there. Geez, the coffee was good.
What did you get, a regular?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I was up there the other day because those kids with their tool shop, remember they took over NASCO and they wanted to put in a tool shop, and then somebody told them, not so fast, you tool shop people. I think they were from the TV show Tool Time. So the people from the town of Shenango said, not so fast, not so fast. And they had to take out all the walls from the old NASCO store and put in new walls. So in case there's flooding, that the stuff inside the tool shop doesn't get damaged. So they're going to open up the tool shop this week. It's on WNBF.com because they finally... I stopped in there on Friday over at the tool shop, and I talked to a woman. She's from California, and she lives in the desert, and she helps the company because they open... they're expanding rapidly, this company that has tool shops. And she told me, she spends about 2 weeks every time, like, to help the company open up these new tool shops. And she lives in Southern California in the desert. And I asked her, so what did you think about all the snow? And she just laughed because it was kind of funny. You remember we had snow on Friday, so she just kind of laughed. And I think she's going to, because the place opens up this week, and then I think she flies back, and so she can be in the desert on Thanksgiving Day to celebrate with her family.
Oh. Yeah, I talked to the guy from Colorado today, and he works for Spectrum, and guess what?
What?
He used to be my neighbor in the First Ward.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I said, oh, my goodness. I said, I remember you. And he said, yeah. He says, I think I remember you and your family, you know. But he lives out in Colorado someplace.
Did he say whether...
I can't remember what part of Colorado he said.
Oh, I bet he lives out near, where is that? Pueblo.
He lives out where the ski resort is.
Oh, I know where you're talking about. I can't afford to go out there. I have to go where the cost of activities is cheaper. The ski. You're talking about Vail, Colorado. It's just too expensive for people like me.
Yeah, I used to ski too.
Really?
I used to take my brother's skis and drag them up the hill. And then I come back down after the polls.
Good times.
I walk up the hills faster than taking those skis.
Yep. Hey, have a good day. I'm going to grab one more call.
Okay, have a good day.
Yep, thanks. Hi, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Martin from Binghamton.
Hey, we only have a few seconds. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I know. Hey, well, this is kind of extortion here in Texas. They want to teach the Bible, and in these school districts, that they will give $60 per student to these school districts. And they talk about, well, these are cash-strapped school districts, so it's going to be hard to turn that money down. And it is funded by billionaires trying to push this agenda, and the Bibles are no other than Donald Trump Bibles. And there's a lot more to it. Also in Oklahoma.
All right. Well, we can talk more about that tomorrow if you call in early, okay?
Yeah, I know. I got behind it.
We'll talk about, because they might expand that to New York State and Pennsylvania, so we can talk about that tomorrow.
They call it the Blue Bonnet.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Martin. That's all the time we have for today. Don't worry, though. I'll be back tomorrow morning from 9 to noon with Binghamton Now. I'm Bob Joseph. Have a great afternoon. Dan Bongino is next right here on WNBF.